Hi, Elliot from Abroad in here. We just published an article on our blog explaining how people living abroad can create a near endless money fountain to help make their retirement that much more financially enjoyable. And as we were writing it, we realized that there's quite a lot of misunderstanding about how our money works for us when we hit retirement. In fact, we see this misunderstanding is so important, we thought, well, hey, let's shoot a video to complement this blog post that we're linking to down below in the description. And we think it's going to help you make not only better financial decisions, but help you have a much better understanding of how money works for us when we're no longer working. So the general idea that we have in society is that once we hit retirement, we're going to have a few different sources of our income to power us financially until, well, we're no longer around. So first you have your state social security, then you have maybe a private pension from your employer or something you've bought from a bank, and then finally we have our savings, or ideally our investments, that we've grown throughout our working career. And it's that part where we get the most fear, because we think, I gotta spend this thing down until it doesn't exist. And what happens if I outlive my money? And it's terrifying because you think, oh my God, in the rest of my life, and I don't know how long that is, I'm going to have a lower quality of living. And that fear and that anxiety actually prevents us from making investments now because we think, oh, well, I'd be happier having it, or I'm going to keep it in a savings account because savings accounts sound safe to me. And in reality, us in the financial services industry, in the investment services and planning sectors, we don't think of that at all. In fact, what we want to do is once we've built this pot, we're just going to keep it generating money for us while living off the profits. And then that way, our money goes to work while we no longer have to. In the article, we use this example, and I'll explain it here a little bit. So let's say in my mid-30s, I decide I'm going to become a smart investor. I got 20,000 euros in my savings account. I move it into a very cool portfolio of diversified ETFs, getting around 8% annually without too much risk. And at the same time, I'm putting 300 euros a month into that plan, and I'm growing it. And over 30 years, it grows and grows and grows, and I hit my retirement, and all of a sudden I have around 675,000 euros. Cool, right? Well, what I want to do at this point, instead of just slowly selling it until it doesn't exist, I want to keep growing it, but at a much more conservative rate of 3-4%. And each year, I'm going to sell 3 to 4% of my portfolio, i.e. what I've kept growing, and I'm going to live off of that. And in our example, you'll have around 2,250 euros, depending on where you live and taxes, to supplement your other income from Social Security and from whatever pension plans you might have. Over the course of the year, I keep aiming for that 3 to 4% growth, and while lo and behold, I keep my core portfolio intact. I keep that value intact. I just keep growing it a little bit, selling the profits, growing it again, and I repeat that and I repeat that and repeat that. And now, instead of ever having to worry about that money disappearing, it just keeps regenerating. And what's even cooler about this is if I need to tap into some emergency money, if I absolutely need it, I got hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of euros at my disposal, depending on how I did it. And that will be with me for literally the second I can no longer use it because I'm no longer here. And I can even pass it on to my relatives, loved ones, pets, whatever you want to leave your money to. It's absolutely fantastic. And this is how this works. And this is how we should be seeing this. And just another note, we at Abroad, and we're not huge fans of making most of our investment portfolio in another currency, right? So if I'm investing in euros, I want to have euros. I don't want to put all of my money in US dollar. And there's actually a big debate out there. It's like, should I be investing in currency hedged funds? The story against it is saying, well, over the long run, currency markets don't matter. A, that's not quite true. But B, what happens when you hit your retirement is you go from this very long-term risk to a shorter one because you want to get as much return as possible with as little risk as possible over those 12 months. And currency markets are very volatile, as many of you remote workers know, over the course of a year. So my only alternative, if I keep myself exposed to those markets, is I sell my investments and I buy new ones that don't have that risk. Well, the issue is if I sell all of these investments, I might be paying 20-30% tax depending on where I'm living, and you just knock your growth off right there. So it's one thing, we like to think about the bigger picture, and of course, we know why, people don't understand these things because we don't teach it in schools, which is very disappointing. But now you know. Again, check out the article in the link below. Be sure to give us a follow, ring the bell, or whatever the heck we do with YouTube. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great one.